My name is Bright Muwador. I come from Ghana, but I'm based in Kenya, working as the Deputy Secretary General of the All Africa Conference of Churches.
What's development effectiveness and why is it important?
Development is about the well-being of the ordinary person. And over the years, we've had aid effectiveness. We've had aid being brought to the third world. But we've seen that this has not been effective. So development effectiveness is actually to make aid more meaningful, more effective, that will address the inequalities, even the relationship between the recipients of aid and then those who give aid, so that there will be an improvement in the relationship, and also we making such that the aid will not be tied onto conditions, so that when the aid is received, it can be more effective and will be geared towards the development and the well-being of the ordinary person, which hitherto has not been the case.
Okay, thanks very much. What concrete difference could more effective development make in your region? Could you think of one example? Or?
Yeah. In Africa, for instance, we've heard it several times where the developed countries claimed to have given aid to Africa and they are not seeing any marked effect of this aid to Africa. And we are saying that with development effectiveness, we bring in civil society organizations to interrogate, to monitor, so that this aid, which hitherto has been given and is claimed not to be having any effect, can be more meaningful, can be monitored, and can actually address the intended purpose for which aid is given. Because we have in Africa issues of corruption, lack of transparency in the use of aid. So that with development effectiveness, we can have civil society organizations also as co-actors in development to interrogate and actually monitor aid that is given to their governments.
Okay, thank you. And what have been the main challenges, and actually, what have been the main successes in operationalizing development effectiveness in your region?
In my region, I think we have been able to build the capacities of most of the civil society organizations to be in a position to actually challenge and interrogate their governments. It also gave the chance to the civil society organizations to look introspectively into themselves to see what are their weaknesses. Because there is that tendency for governments to challenge the legitimacy of civil society organizations. So with the open forum and the development effectiveness in the national consultations that we undertook with the help of the open forum in Brussels, we've been able to build the capacities of most of the CSOs, and they are now better placed to be able to deliver on the basis of which they operate.
Brilliant, thank you. And what have been the main challenges in operationalizing development effectiveness in your region? There might be challenges for CSOs or challenges for donors, or?
The main challenge has been the environment within which to operate. Most governments still resist for the operations of civil society organizations. We also have instances where governments themselves, through ministers or individually, establish CSOs. So you'll find that most of the CSOs are not independent. We also have the challenge of lack of transparency and accountability by some of the CSOs themselves. So it makes it very difficult for them to be accepted to be able to operate. So two things. The environment is not very conducive for the operations of CSOs. And then ourselves as CSOs, we have created an avenue for governments not to accept us as co-actors of development because we are not transparent in some cases, and also we lack accountability.
Okay, thank you. And what are the things that inspire and motivate organisations in your region to engage in discussions on development effectiveness?
The basic one is poverty. We use in Africa wealth creation because we do no longer use the term poverty eradication. Civil society organizations are concerned about the poverty levels in our continent. In the 60s and 70s, the level of poverty today is higher than the poverty levels we had in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. At the same time, the paradox is that we have aid coming or flowing to Africa more than before. So we are struggling to find out what is the cause. So as civil society organizations in various forms, human rights, as to poverty eradication or whatever, we are concerned to see what can we do. So these are the main actually motivating factors that when can we get out of the poverty syndrome that we found ourselves in Africa.
Brilliant. And if there's one thing that we can achieve in Busan, what would it be?
First, to give a clear message to the world, especially in Africa, that Africa is not completely poor. Africa has got the resources. And we want an environment where aid is given to facilitate Africa to be able to tap its resources. And then there should be an exit strategy where the developed world would actually help Africa to get out of the poverty trap it has found itself. So that is why we tend to use the term wealth creation, so that Africa can make use of its natural resources with the help of the developed world. Secondly, the message that we have been trying to get at the Open Forum and then at the Better Aid consultations that we've had, we want this message to be given clearly to the developed world, that enough is enough about conditionalities. Enough is enough about tying aid to conditions, so that aid can actually be seen as something done in partnership with those who are in need and those who have.
What is Open Forum?
The Open Forum is a platform that brings hundreds of civil society organizations together to bring to the fore how we can make aid and development as one issue and make it more effective.
And what's Better Aid?
Better Aid is equally concerned with bringing civil society organizations together, but the difference between the Open Forum and the Better Aid is that they are more concerned about how aid could be bettered for the intended beneficiaries.